want to clarify because I have actually a hard time saying this because I keep saying it and people get upset with me. People that I love, care about,
I'm sure,
that I know,
that
throughout the industry,
agents.
that are single agents. So I do have a hard time saying this over and over again, despite it being true. This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 163 of The Real Word.
Word is up. Ooh,
yeah.
I chapsticked. That's why.
Well, that's why it was so good.
I chapsticked.
There you go.
That was it.
Glad to be back in the studio with you as opposed to the virtual studio. We've got Zillow leading off. They had a letter to shareholders that puts the final stamp of approval on what I've been saying for years and years and years. And you can go back and reference videos here. You can reference videos before The Real Word. I've been saying this for years. We're going to be talking about that first. Then we're going to list out all of Compass's acquisitions since they are now public. And we actually have a Marketeer of the Week, even though last week we said we're going just celebrity style. We're
trying to keep everybody on their toes. Yeah.
All right. Zillow, this is the quarter four shareholder. So Racket number 1, shareholder letter. I'm going to just read off some key highlights.
And it starts, dear shareholders.
It does, but we're going to read off some key highlights, and then we're going to go right to the summary because that's where the juice is. The last paragraph is actually where the juice, and this thing is multiple pages long.
Yeah. Did you actually read it?
I did. But let's just do the key highlights, and then
that's perfect because I haven't read it.
I know. That's okay.
I know.
I'm looking forward to your opinion on it.
Yeah, I'm ready to listen.
Key highlights. Consolidated revenue, $789 million. Consolidated GAAP net income, $46 million. Consolidated adjusted EBITDA, $170 million. Average monthly unique users. This is a big one to pay attention to. 201 million. We actually referenced that last Real Word when we were talking about Redfin, only at about, I think, 40 million, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Sorry about that.
You just threw your phone off the table.
Well, I needed to.
Is it blowing up?
A little bit.
Wow. It's popular, Nicole White.
It's Zillow calling.
Visits, year-over-year growth, 27%. They had 2.2 billion visits on their website. Would you like to have a website like that?
I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, you wouldn't mind it.
Well, because again, most of those people are probably putting in their contact information too.
That's right. For the year, 9.6 billion. So that was
Even
quarter
better.
4 was the 2.2 billion, which is 27% year-over-year growth. 9.6 billion for the year. Their consolidated revenue. All right, so this is balance sheet and cash flow summary stuff. All right, we're going to stop talking all the boring stuff in a minute here, Nicole.
I love it. I'm just gonna glaze over here for a minute.
We ended Q4 with a cash and investment balance of 3.9 billion, the highest in our history, up from 3.8 billion at the end of Q3. We have to stop saying Zillow's not making any money. They're starting to make some money. Okay, their plan wasn't to make money from day one. All right, go to the summary. We're linking the entire shareholder letter in the description box on YouTube, which you should be subscribed to the YouTube channel, Real Word. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. But we're going to post this article or this letter, just like we do all the articles that we reference, in the description box below. All right, I'm going to the last paragraph. I'm going to read it word for word.
Please do it.
Okay. We are connecting services together for our customers using our low cost of customer acquisition across multiple products to compete against an industry of largely single point solution providers with high customer acquisition cost. We're using these low acquisition products that we have, meaning Zillow, because this is from Rich Barton, the CEO,
Right. Yep.
to compete against an industry of largely single point solution providers with high customer acquisition costs. Remember that line. We now have the building blocks in place, and our story ahead will be about execution and scaling as we strive to improve the digital experience for the broader industry alongside our partners. They did at one point mention
The partners.
the partners, meaning the real estate agents that they're working with through Flex programs, growth programs.
Right.
So if you're in Flex, if you're a growth partner of theirs, hats off to you. They mentioned you. That would be us. We continue to be in the early pages of the story and look forward to sharing future chapters with you in the quarters and years ahead. Okay. I've been saying for years, the solo agent is dead. Mm-hmm. When they say we're competing against an industry of largely single point solution providers, they are saying us, Zillow, who had 9.6 billion visitors last year, we're competing directly against solo agents, single point providers, single point solution providers, because we have better tools. We have more value to offer to the consumer.
Well, we also have way more traffic.
We have way more traffic, but we're using this traffic, which is their low-cost acquisition across multiple products.
Yep.
Think Trulia, think realestate.com, which they now own. Think their home buying segment, all these products that they have. And they're handing them off to their partners, who they did mention, their partners, the Zillow Growth partners.
You feel good about it? I
feel good right now about it. Definitely right now. They're handing those off to their partners. And they mentioned their partners actually a little bit throughout this. There are people you'll see people on the internet really highlighting what I'm talking about, the single point solution providers, and saying Zillow is destroying the industry, the entire industry. Well, no, they've been clear. They are working with teams that are providing an Amazon-like experience to consumers that can be consistent in what they're providing. They're not working with individual agents. The individual agent is dead. The individual agent can't even buy zip codes anymore that used to buy them from Zillow. Now, when I say the individual agent is dead, I want to clarify, because I have actually a hard time saying this because I keep saying it and people get upset with me, people that I love, care about,
I'm sure,
that I know, throughout the industry, that are single agents. So I do have a hard time saying this over and over again, despite it being true. Reason for that is these people are great people. I like these people a lot. But the reason you see some individual agents still having a lot of success is they're not individual agents.
Well, that's the biggest thing here. I mean, I guess they're
classified as individual agents for their brokerage award.
Right. And that's why most of them are doing the single agent, because they want the broker award.
Which is fine with me, by the way.
No, I love it. I mean, I totally get it. But like I know you're going to say, there's assistants. There's a team of assistants behind them. There are people behind them that are supporting them, helping them get their paperwork done, keeping them organized, maybe even doing like their laundry for them, which is obviously super helpful, which I need.
When you look at any top luxury agent in top markets, they're a lot of times classified as a lot of teams, but sometimes as an individual agent.
Yes.
You're talking 6, 7, 8 employees as assistants and showing agents running out on the tour and on the showings and the buyers and that kind of stuff.
Right.
I'm not talking about that solo agent is dead. That's a team business model.
100%.
They're just not calling themselves a team.
Agreed.
Awesome. I love the model. I'm talking about the agent who is by themselves, relying on a brokerage who's not offering team-like support, team-like branding.
Well, because you could be on a team and still have zero support, though, too.
Very true.
I mean, I was on a team. I was still having to upload all my stuff into MLS. I was still ordering my own photos. I was still having to pay for my own mailing. Like, I had zero support, but we were just like grouping our listings together.
If you're in a boutique brokerage or a big brokerage that's offering team-like support, that's giving you daily training, giving you leads to work, holding you accountable on those leads, supplying opportunities to market and brand yourself, that would be a cohesive team environment.
Right.
Okay. But we all know that a lot of the big box brokerages are just sign-on bonus.
Throwing cash at them. We're hearing a lot of cash lately. Lots of cash being thrown out there.
Hang your license. That's the worst term, hang your license, because it basically means we're going to hang your license over here and you can hang yourself on your license because we're not going to give you any support, meaning your business, not you personally. Those agents are dead because they have to wear 15 hats to, in their defense, no single person can do it with the speed that this market's moving.
Right. Well, and they also have to figure out how to do it on their own. I mean, it's one thing to like be doing it all on your own, but then to have to figure out everything that you do need to do on your own. I mean, that could take years too, just figuring it all out. And then obviously having to continue to do all of it. Yeah. I mean,
when you look
exhausting.
At these new models, Redfin isn't promoting the use of individual agents, right? They have employees that have a number of people handling different segments of the transaction. Zillow, Realtor.com now are handing their leads out to a team-like structure that have multiple people being able to work these leads and the listing coordinator, transaction coordinator, all these different things, right? You heard it from Rich himself, Rich Barton, co-founder and CEO, and he signed it with Alan Parker, the CFO, the chief financial officer. Remember, they are a public traded company. They didn't do it with their chief heart officer. He didn't sign it with his human resource. He didn't sign it with the Agents of America or NAR. He signed it with his chief financial officer.
Chief heart
officer? Yeah, you know, some companies have a chief heart officer.
I've never heard of that. I thought you were just blowing some smoke there.
No. They're about money at Zillow. They signed it with
but
their
it is
CFO.
also to their, it is dear shareholder, so I guess the CFO does need to be involved.
It makes sense.
Yes.
But he's signing off on their competition against an industry of largely single-point solution providers. The single agent cannot compete against 9.6 billion visitors in a month. They can't brand them. They don't have time to brand themselves, be a great negotiator, be an educator for their consumers and for their community, be able to farm and market to their community, be able to help their community, be a writer,
help your family,
be a photographer,
keep your health in check, eat lunch. I mean, there's no time for any of that.
Take a shower. No, there is no time for that. And I would encourage you to read through this. Be educated. Don't be one of those agents who just complains about Zillow and complains about the agents making money off of Zillow. Listen, could the Zillow play here be in 2 years to get rid of even the teams they're working on? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. It could be. Nobody knows. What I will say is those teams that are utilizing that right now and then are investing in their local community, their local brand, that's going to pay dividends for the future because their community is going to remember that because they actually live in those areas.
Right.
Read the shareholder letter every quarter when it comes out. It's not a racket. It's what's happening in your industry. All right, racket number 2.
You're so chill today. Look at you. You're like sedated.
I feel good. It's very, very hot in this room.
That's maybe what it is. We're just kind of like, we're feeling it. It's like we're in like a steam bath.
Like I'm in a sauna.
We are definitely in a sauna.
Racket number 2. We haven't talked about Compass in a long time.
Nope.
Are you excited?
I mean, as excited as I can be.
They've got big news. They filed their S1 filing, and there's a whole bunch of details out now, so we can see what they paid for these companies. We're just going to run down the list, get your thoughts in the comments on if these were good buys or not good buys. Also in the comments, definitely whether you agree with me on the individual agent being dead. You agree with me, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Did I force you into that answer?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Nope. I mean, I'm here.
All right.
I'm a team player.
Revenue for Compass last year, $3.7 billion. Net loss of $270.2 million. I don't know. Here's why they have a net loss. They've done heavy investing, not much to the last year. You don't hear them buying up companies.
Well, this year was also very, I mean, I feel like everyone was, well.
Oh, Zillow's buying. Redfin's buying.
I agree. I didn't finish the sentence.
All right, so in 2018, everybody remembers the Pac Union International purchase. This one was giving them a bigger presence in SF and LA, and it revealed, their S1 filing, that Compass has paid a total of $83 million to date for its acquisition of the brokerage firm that boasted 54 offices and more than 1,700 agents. Okay?
And they had those slick signs. The signs are my favorite part.
So if you have an office or a brokerage of similar size, you know what Compass kind of values. Yeah, maybe. Paragon Real Estate, this was preceding the Pac Union. This was in 2017. At the time, they had closed 1,591 transactions. This, of course, is according to Inman, which we'll link below. I don't know if they meant total or if that was that year. I'm assuming that's just that year.
It says sides in 17.
In 17. Okay,
yep.
There you go.
Yep.
1,600 sides in 2017, and the company had 500 agents. Okay, smaller company. They paid them almost $20 million, $18.9 million to date, $15.8 million in cash, $3.1 million in contingent considerations. There could be more cash coming.
Potentially.
If that was part of the deal. Contractually, which we all remember, they've paid contractually $26.1 million to date, which included $24.5 million up front and $1.6 million for the elimination of existing relationships. And we bounced out of Contactually pretty quickly after that news. By the way, if you're still in Contactually, not a Compass agent, love to hear from you in the comments. Modus. Compass signaled a move into closing services and business with the October 2020 acquisition. So I'm wrong. They made an acquisition here late in the year. That one flew under the radar for me. And they paid $50 million to date for Modus, including
a title and escrow software. That was a smart move.
Yeah.
I think that was a smart move. I mean, we always talk about title companies, title insurance, even just title. Yeah, I mean,
and in the comments, smart. Mike Regan would agree with you. He thought these numbers seemed painfully low and accurate. So he thought that was a good acquisition as well. KVS Title, so another title company, which is their most recent buy. So these ones at the end of
that's where the
quarter
money,
4 of 2020.
Where the money is.
Yeah, and what'd they pay for that? Another $50 million. So that they've shelled out now $100 million as of late for title companies.
Well, which makes sense because I can't really speak to every state, but I know, agents. So in Connecticut we have attorneys that are doing closings, but in some states there's not. So you need that direct title. Yeah.
Here's a big one that it hurts me to say only because we're not Compass agents. I think this was a great buy. I don't know the exact numbers but this is local to us. It's over in Rhode Island, neighboring state. They bought out Lila Delman, which was a independent brokerage and had a really good market share in the high end along the Rhode Island shoreline. And it only cost them $6 million in cash and up to an additional $3.7 million of cash upon meeting certain requirements. So that one just happened, and that I think is going to be a good purchase for them. They've bought some other companies. You can read all the other companies there. I mean, listen, they've been buying their market share.
They're buying agents. Yeah.
Here's what there's another Inman article out there. If you read Robert Revkin's letter about announcing Compass's public do
it again. Debut. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Debut.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He starts we did this in the Swanepoel thing. He starts out every single letter now with, I started Compass because of my mom, Ruth. Ruth was a single mother. She provided for our little family on her own. I think it's a great story. And she was an agent and blah, 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 but she didn't have the tools, basically, is what he gets into here. I've said this before, they're Sotheby's 2.0.
Okay.
Compass.
That's how you feel?
That's how I feel.
Okay.
I haven't heard any agent over there tell me that their tech is getting them clients like Zillow's.
Well, but it's interesting because they're buying these high-end luxury companies, right, probably thinking that by acquiring them,
they're acquiring market share.
That would maybe just give them the ability to do the luxury. Yeah.
I'm not bullish on the IPO. So the IPO is coming. I would not invest in it. I could be wrong. I'm rarely wrong on my stocks that I actually say on this show.
You're getting into stocks. You're telling people what to buy and what not to buy.
I'm just going off of the real estate ones that listen, I told people to buy Zillow at $20. They hit 200 recently. They're trading around 170. I told everybody on this show to go buy Racket loans. They just went up 100%.
You were loving the day yesterday.
Oh my gosh, what a great day.
I mean, you got off the plane and you barely even said hi to me. You were like,
they went up 100% yesterday. I told everyone to buy into them at 20 or under 20. Thankfully, my dad listened to me on that one. And
did he pull out last night too?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Good.
That was the time to sell.
Yeah.
So they went up 100%. What else have I talked about? We've talked about EXPI, but I haven't urged people to go buy that one.
I don't talk about any of it.
You would have made a lot of money on EXPI. I'm not bullish on this one. I like a lot of Compass agents. I like their look, their feel. I just don't see anything that is like disruptive, like a Redfin, like a Zillow, like those companies.
Okay. I just really like their signs.
Yeah, good signs. All right. Marketeer of the week. We're back to the Marketeer. We will have celebrity editions like we did last week, but you can't get away from the Marketeer.
I mean, we'll come up with something new every week. Trust me.
Why not?
I mean,
we're the biggest rackets going on.
We really
real
are the
estate
biggest
podcasts.
racket. I think we're confirming that this week.
Inman article. Direct mail isn't dead. Here's how to do it right. They actually break down a lot in this article. This was by Christy Murdoch Edgar, end of February was posted. I'd go read it if you're thinking about direct mail. Are people still using direct mail? Absolutely. And I'd argue that people are opening it more than they have in the last 5 years. More people are home.
Right.
Spending more time there. And when you're spending more time there, you got more time to look at your mail. You're not running that busy life like we used to pre-COVID where you don't even have time to open your mail. You're just throwing it away.
Right.
You're actually home. You've got time to look at it.
Well, I think though what is interesting here though too, I think it's a great addition to your other marketing, because again, it's like you're seeing them here or there, and now something's in your mail. So even if you're not necessarily reading it, you're certainly glancing and seeing things that are in your pile. But I agree with you. I mean, I don't know that maybe I am opening my mail.
I mean,
more.
maybe
Usually
if you're
just bypassing bills.
If you're driving home and you see a big billboard, you can pop up Bobby right here. You can pop up Nicole White's big billboard.
I mean, half people are talking about accidents. I mean, I don't blame them.
Pop up if you're listening. Go to YouTube so you can see Nicole's billboard.
Well, it's not just me. Go easy. There's a few other crewmates there.
Absolutely. But maybe you're going by a billboard. Maybe you're seeing a lot of videos on social, and then you get that letter or that postcard in the mailbox. It reinforces brand from multiple directions.
100% reinforces brand. But I think what's also helpful too is that then now there's something tangible with like a phone number on it, an email on it. So you're not now having to hunt and search it. I think it's a good little add-on.
Here are the tips in the article. Pick the right neighborhood. Absolutely. You want to pick one where there's not already 10 to 20 agents farming that neighborhood with direct mail, because then you're going to get lost in the shuffle.
Right. I think also to sort of double down on that too. I tell my agents all the time, like, look at where all your friends lived, right? Because that was for us, it was 20 years ago. So they're now all grown. Their kids are out of the house. 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you there's going to be a multitude of people that are then leaving that neighborhood because now they're going to be downsizing.
I mean, if you grew up there and the parents know you or that kind of thing, that's a good play.
But again, hit the neighborhoods where you know that there's going to be some turnover.
Consistency is critical. You have to do it every month, once a month, at least, minimum, even more if you can afford that. Variable data for higher return on investment. So but that means if you and I both mail the same piece and I put the first name and the last name on, the response will be 7 times higher. So basically A/B testing all of your stuff. Go for quality. Here's a line that's great. In my 25 years, any single brochure or postcard had an error on it when it comes from a template-driven site. If it's not grammar or spelling, it's a layout issue. Agents tell homeowners to hire a professional, then they go and design a postcard like they're a graphic designer, meaning like as if they're trying to pretend like they're a graphic designer instead of hiring a graphic designer. That's
or you just use the template. The graphic designers have already provided you with a template.
Josh Rubin did a really great segment on this on our Behind the Mastermind, which
he's a huge mailer.
Yeah. And actually, if you maybe we can link up Behind the Mastermind Facebook group. We'll link it up. We'll link that up.
You didn't want to talk about it last week. We're talking about it this week.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it because I just thought of it.
Yeah.
So Behind the Mastermind Facebook group, we're adding a ton of value. It's my mastermind. There's 9 of us. Everybody's a team leader in this mastermind. I'm the smallest guy, by the way, of the group. These guys are rock star guys and girls, are rock star performers. Number 1 team in Mass, number 1 team in Hoboken, New Jersey, number 1 teams everywhere. Josh Rubin, New York City, it invests $300,000 plus a year on his direct mail.
Yes, I know that he's a huge mailer.
One of the interesting things he said in his segment, by the way, you can join that Facebook group if I didn't mention that. By the way, we're going to do a webinar every single month. Anyway,
yes.
Josh Rubin mentioned that you've got to add value to the consumer.
Right.
Okay, not adding value to yourself on the postcard,
right,
but what's going to be valuable to them. I thought that was a big takeaway. What piece of information can you give them that they're going to feel like they got something out of it?
Right.
Because they're not just going to get a postcard and be like, you know what?
Cool, I'm going to sell my house now.
I wasn't thinking about selling my house.
You know what? But this postcard, you know what? I think I'm gonna
move.
Honey?
Pack the stuff. You gotta bleep that, Bobby, for me. Pack the stuff. We are moving. Okay. And That's just not going to happen. It's the consistency, add value, add value, add value, add value. Then they're going to pick up the phone and reach out.
It's sort of the same thing as when someone's like, hey, Nicole, like, what color should I paint my bathroom? Like, I'm obviously going to answer that question because in 3 years, when they're like, hey, Nicole, thank you so much. Like, now you need to sell the bathroom that you helped me paint. Yeah. Like, it's sort of the same thing. I agree. I mean, you're not mailing those things for immediate reaction. You're doing those, like you're saying, building a relationship, providing them with some value so that they know that you're the professional, you know exactly what's going on, but they trust you without even knowing you. So you're probably even sitting there. I bet you Josh walks in there and has the listing without even having a presentation that he has to give. Sure. Yeah.
There's a dirty little rumor on the internet right now that Zillow is starting to mail to current listings and telling people. I have not seen this.
Interesting. Are they allowed?
I'm going to tell you
right now. Are you allowed
now,
as a broker?
Well, this is the argument online, but we haven't talked about it yet because I haven't seen evidence to this. Everybody talking about it online. Nobody has shown evidence. I hear a lot of people complaining.
Like to complain, yeah.
So they're sending letters to homeowners telling them how to get out of their listings, letters and emails. Okay.
Wow.
There was one agent in particular who said that this happened to her. She had her own house sold, but she didn't share the email. It blows my mind that this isn't out there and people are complaining about it.
I don't think that they necessarily need to do that. Like, they don't. Do they need to do that?
Here's what I would say. If Zillow's going to direct mail your community, what's the cost of you not doing it? Okay, they're not just living on Google AdWords anymore. And if you actually, this is why working as with a team, working with I hate using collection because that's not really a team. Working like a business, working the business like a business, having the assets to be able to direct mail on a consistent basis is a smart play.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Good show.
If you enjoy the show, if you're enjoying this content, make sure you're following both Nicole and I on Instagram.
Wow.
Yeah. Nicole White, Realtor. Is that what you are?
It is.
At Nicole White, Realtor.
I mean, the problem is that there's so many Nicole Whites in the world. You had to sort of add a little something next.
Find me at Byron Lazine. We're doing some interesting stuff on Instagram. You should definitely follow along there. Subscribe to the channel, Real Word, on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, thank you. Love a 5-star review. If you could, go ahead, follow on YouTube. We're coming out with a new show very shortly on the Real Word channel. We've been talking about this a little too long. We're pulling the trigger this week. We have some huge names booked. It's not just going to be Nicole and I. It's going to be a lot more interesting people. So for sure, they're sick of hearing you talk. I think. Make sure you subscribe. Appreciate your comments, and we'll see you on the next show. See you guys. Keep it real. Oh,